Here we go. Ready, going live in 3, 2, 1. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this NFL DFS Week 17 preview live stream show. We are over here at Main Event DFS. Thank you for joining us. Before I get started, before I bring in our guest host, drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, hit that notifications bell. That way there each and every single one of you know every single time one of these podcasts or live streams drop and or go live. And leave a comment down below. You can tell Noah and I, who's our guest host this week, what plays you all are on, what plays you're not on, and chat with us down in the comments or over in the Main Event DFS Discord. Let's bring him in here. Noah! My friend, welcome back to the podcast / live stream.
Thank you, sir. You know I love it. I'm just happy to be here and talk some fantasy. This is a big week, too. Championship week, so we hope we can just give you guys some sound advice.
Absolutely. It's championship week for our season-long players, and for you players that unfortunately had bumped your playoffs now to week 18, talk to your commissioners. That needs to be adjusted. You need to go week 15 to 17 now.
Yep. And you know what? It's nice, though, because we still get an extra week of fantasy.
Absolutely.
But for those who don't know or don't already adhere to this, do not play fantasy on the last week of the season. Do not do it, because guys who are healthy will sit out because of playoff seeding in for their NFL, for the real reasons. And it just messes up all things fantasy, So
it's a very volatile day in terms of DFS and season long.
Finish your season 1 week before the end,
if possible. But we respect all leagues out here, but we just highly encourage you all to please change your playoff formats to not having your championship in the final week.
Agreed.
All right, now that the season-long talk is over, let's get here into the greatness that is this week and all the fun goodies that are here in Week 17. And I should have just let off this podcast by saying, happy Trey Lance season, everybody! Happy Trey Lance season, everyone! It is going to be an awesome Trey Lance week. And in case you all haven't figured out, Trey Lance is an amazing play. So what we're going to do here this week, this is a FanDuel stream. If you have questions related to DraftKings, feel free to drop them in the comments. We would know, and I will do our best to answer them the best that we can. But going forward, for the rest of the season, we are going to be doing FanDuel only. We'll be giving a lot of love to DraftKings. We're going to go FanDuel only here for the rest of the season. At least here at my content here at Main Event DFS. And for those of you that don't know, my name is Adam Kohn, and I am an NFL DFS analyst and content provider here at Main Event DFS. Now, Noah, let's get things started. We're going to go here on this live stream. We're going to go position by position. So we're going to start off here with the quarterbacks, and we're going to go break them down. So we're going to go to this 8,000 to 7,500 tier. So we're going to go from Josh Allen all the way down to Mr. Tyler Huntley. So, Mr. Noah, Josh Allen, most expensive quarterback on the slate with the best matchup on the entire slate. Well, one of the best matchups on the entire slate. He's at home taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Are you paying $8,800 for Josh Allen this week? Because I know I am. He's going to be in my player pool.
Yeah, absolutely. He's worth the high price. If you look what he did last week against one of the top defenses in the league in New England, he absolutely shredded them. And his stats weren't even as good as they could have been, because there was one for sure drop touchdown and 50-50 on another one that could have very easily been a touchdown. He was just unbelievable. It was amazing to watch. He shredded their defense single-handedly. So against
Can we move on from how he dismantled the Patriots last week, please? Thank you.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I mean, like, this is what people have to realize. This is how good Josh Allen and the Bills are.
No, he's an absolute beast. And it's week in, week out with him.
Yeah, but, for a quarterback prospect who is regarded as the worst on the top tier in his draft class, what a freaking 180. I'm so happy for him. I'm proud of him. He's just shown a complete improvement in ways that I don't know if some people thought that he would make.
Well, we always knew he had the talent, right? Because he just had an absolute cannon of an arm. He's a massive dude. He's fast. He's strong. He has all the attributes. But he wasn't very polished. You know, he was coming from a small school, not a lot of experience, not a lot of starts under his belt. And so you just saw that, you know, the rawness of his game in the NFL. You know, he was making a lot of bad decisions and that such, but he's really, you know, figured out a way to process things a lot quicker and make good decisions. And, you know, he can make every throw that has ever existed within the game of football. So it's pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, he's an awesome talent. I'm so happy for him. Long story short is Josh Allen's in the player pool. We're playing Josh Allen.
Yep, start that man.
All right. So getting back here to quarterback, Patrick Mahomes at Cincinnati, Tom Brady at the Jets. Both players you should have on your player pools. I don't know what to do with either one of these players this week. Brady is possibly having no wide receiver help this week in terms of his top tier. We don't know if Mike Williams is going to be back. We don't know, you know, any of that stuff. So Brown is questionable. Evans is questionable.
Yeah, I expect Antonio Brown to play. I would be surprised if Mike Evans plays. Honestly though, the lack of receivers doesn't concern me with Brady as much. For me, what concerns me about Brady is this game could get out of hand so quickly. I could see the defense forcing turnovers. The defense could score even. And soon enough, you know, this could be a 2 or 3 touchdown game. And, you know, Brady's going to turn around and hand the ball off 8 times out of 10.
Hopefully Keyshawn Vaughn.
Hopefully the Keyshawn Vaughn, sure.
Not that I'm playing against Rojo in my championship in one of my season-long leagues, so.
Yeah. So I think Tom Brady will be fine in terms of his receiver talent. It's just more the game script that could get out of hand very quickly for the Jets. And, you know, he doesn't have as much work to do in that case.
Yep. So I don't think I'm probably going to include Brady in my player pool. If I am, it's probably going to be just Brady and Antonio Brown stacks. Maybe if I'll you know, break my rule about stacking running backs with their quarterback, and I'll include Rojo in that so I can get a 3-man stack. Just so I can make sure I have all the top-end Tampa talent.
I like the Brady and Antonio Brown stack a lot.
You could even put Gronk in there, honestly.
Yeah, you could. You totally could. I mean, this whole offense could have a massive day. But the thing is, again, there's so many mouths to feed, even though there's injuries. Brady just loves to spread the ball around. You know, they've still got 2 running backs they're going to use. So it's hard to be certain who those guys are going to be, you know?
Mm-hmm. This is very, very true. Now, Patrick Mahomes at Cincinnati. Look, I'm going to come right out and say this, everybody. Guys, I'm playing against in my championship roster. Patrick Mahomes, Rojo, Ezekiel Elliott, Gronkowski, Mark Andrews. I have other priorities in terms of this week because I am the defending champion in the league. I am back in the championship and some of my guys don't exactly have the greatest matchups. But Patrick Mahomes is a great play at Cincinnati. I think this game, honestly, could break the entire slate. If you were to tell me, Noah, that Kansas City at Cincinnati ends up 40-37, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, my God. I wouldn't either. Even though, I mean, Kansas City's defense has been playing great football lately, but I cannot wait to see what Joe Burrow and the Bengals go and put up on KC. So this is definitely the game that I'm looking forward to the most.
This game currently sitting at a 51 over-under. It's actually, surprisingly, not the highest over-under on this slate, which is really surprising.
I think that just goes to what the odds makers are showing respect to the Kansas City defense.
Yeah, I think that's exactly where they're showing respect to, because Arizona at Dallas is coming in at a 52 over-under.
Yeah, that's the other game I can't wait to see.
I think that's
another.
I think that's odds makers not giving enough respect to Arizona and Dallas's defenses rather.
Maybe so.
I'm not really thrilled about that game in the least, but those are the 2 highest over-unders, folks, on this entire slate. I mean, you have the Giants at Chicago. Fade the entire freaking game. Okay.
Yeah, I'm with
Carolina
that.
at New Orleans. With the exception of Alvin Kamara, fade the entire freaking game.
Entire game. Yeah, there's nobody. That's a fantasy wasteland right there.
Miami at Tennessee. 40 over under, I think, is a little.
40
That's.
over under. I take the over
I will
actually.
take the over on that handily.
Yeah,
Jacksonville
yeah,
at New
40.
England. With the exception of Damian Harris or Ramondre Stevenson, fade the game.
Yep,
Actually, you
yep.
could actually convince me to have some Patriot stacks. Houston at San Francisco sitting at a 44 over under. It's Trey Lance season! We'll get there in a bit. Detroit at Seattle. And what's possibly Russell Wilson's final game as a Seahawk at home.
Don't say it. Don't say
Oh,
it.
that's right. I was starting to say it, and then you started reacting. I'm like, right, you're a Seahawks fan.
God, I know.
Russell Wilson's gonna look good in the Pittsburgh Steelers jersey.
Quote, I hope it's not my last game in this Hawks uniform, unquote. Or
He's gonna say
no,
all the right
sorry.
things on his way
Yeah,
out.
I know, right?
He was possibly on his way out this last offseason.
That was a very questionable thing to say. He did not need to say that based on the question that was asked.
Neither did Big Ben. So we have two quarterbacks this week that are possibly playing their last home games with their respective teams.
Oh my god!
And Ben Roethlisberger and Russell Wilson. Sorry,
Yeah.
dude.
Nah, that's all right.
I mean, you have three major players this offseason. This is going to be a fun offseason to see where Wilson...
It's going to be a great offseason.
Rodgers, Wilson, and Watson.
Yeah, oh my god, that's right.
Where are they going to go? It's going to shake up the entire dynamic of the NFL.
Absolutely. Yep.
And maybe Wilson will have a chance to throw the ball.
Not to mention the number one receiver in the league as well, Devontae Adams.
Yeah. But we can always have off-season talks about that. I love talking football. Atlanta at Buffalo, surprisingly, is a 44.5 over-under, with Buffalo being favored by 14.5. So, I know.
14.5?
I know, shocker.
Oh, my God. Take the Falcons. Take the
effing Falcons. There you go.
Falcons. Nobody wins by 2 touchdowns in the NFL. Come on.
My fucking virgin is. Oops, I didn't need to say that. Family friendly show. We apologize, folks. If I'm taking and smashing the over on any game, I am smashing the over on that ridiculous Miami-Tennessee line.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I can't believe it's 40 points. That's insane.
That is
Tennessee over on Miami.
Tennessee favored by 3, by the way.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't really touch the line. Because Miami's won 7 straight. Tennessee's a good team, but Miami's won 7 straight. So I'm not too confident.
We'll get to Waddle in a bit.
But
we'll get to
we'll be getting to him. We'll be getting to him.
All right, back to quarterback here. Now we talked a little about the lines on this slate. It's a fun slate.
This is a good one. Yep.
This is not the greatest single entry slate, folks. I'm just gonna say that right now. This is not the greatest single entry slate on the planet. And if it is, there are going to be a lot of people that are going to go Trey Lance, Cooper Kupp. Who else are we going to shove in here? We're going to shove in Jonathan Taylor. We're going to shove in Cooper Kupp. We're going to go here. We're going to go Trey Lance. Oh, look, I got that much there. We're going to go defense. We're going to punt to defense. Oh, look. Wait a minute. What we got? Raiders are on the road. I have the Raiders right now hanging out in my dummy lineup because I thought they were going to play against Ellinger. Right now, it's looking like Carson Wentz is going to play. I'm going to put the Raiders in there. That leaves me 6,000 more player. Running back, I can easily go down here and go, oh, look, I can go Chase Edmonds against Dallas. Who else can I go? I can go Pollard. Oh, look, Darrell Williams against Cincinnati. I could even go cheaper. Devin Singletary versus Atlanta. Who else is here that's cheap? Ramondre, if Damian Harris is out. I could go Keyshawn Vaughn at 5,600. I'm not playing Chuba Hubbard against New Orleans.
There are some incredible steals. Michael Carter against the Jets against the Bucks could get a really, really heavy pass catching workload.
Mm-hmm. But if we go over here, I got 6,000 left to wide receiver. You mean to tell me I can sit here and go, okay, who else am I going to go play against? Oh, I can stack Trey Lance with Debo. Who else can I go down here with? Let's see. Byron Pringle against Cincinnati. Boom. I can go tight end over here. Who's a cheap tight end I can plug in? Let's see. Who's cheap? Where's the Muth at? Oh, he's on Monday night.
Well, I guess it depends on your definition of cheap, but I like Dalton Schultz a lot for 59.
Yeah, I know it's something cheaper than that. Ooh, let's go. Not that I have Zach Ertz on my team or anything. But like we can go Zach Ertz. That leaves us 3,900. But I mean, like, you
Zach
see
Ertz
where
for
people
59.
can go here. Like, I could take Debo out. I could go back to the San Francisco game. Brandon Ayuk's $5,900. Plug in.
Yeah,
Oh, look,
that's crazy.
That leaves me $7,000 in the flex. Hi, Jalen Waddle. Oh, even better, Rojo. This this is how easy a single entry team could be. This is how easy cash could be. You know, it's like it's weird because we have the Trey Lance value on FanDuel. It opens up so much. Singletary's cheap. Rojo 7,000. The Raiders are cheap. Ayuk is cheap. Pringle's cheap. I can pay up for Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp if I wanted to.
Yep. There's so much flexibility this week because there's so many good matchups.
I'm not at all advising anyone not to play single entries, but just like keep in mind there may be more duplicates than variations this week. But anyway, let's continue to talk about the quarterbacks. Justin Herbert at home versus the I don't even know who's coming to town, Denver Broncos. This game could be a major Austin Eckler game. Why?
Yeah.
Because Herbert's not going to have to do anything because Denver may not be able to be put up points. Denver, and I want to tell you all what this means, right? So there is no Teddy Bridgewater this week. He's out, concussion. So it's going to be Drew Lock starting. All right? I'm just going to plug players in over here. Your running backs, both are questionable. I expect both to play. All right? Gordon's practicing limited. Devontae limited. Okay, so we get two questionable tags here. I'll put those up there. I'm just going to show you the questionable tags. Here are Denver's wide receivers. Jerry Jeudy's not playing, COVID IR. Tim Patrick not playing, IR. Courtland Sutton may not play. He traveled with the team, still might go on the COVID IR list. So that means we're going to get Kendall Hinton. We could get Travis Fulgham. Is he on their practice squad? Oh, Fulgham was promoted to the active roster from the practice squad on Friday. Ben Swanson of the Broncos official sites reports. Oh, Noah, it might be Travis Fulgham season again.
Travis Fulgham.
I know, right? There's a name from last year.
Man, I'd love to see Kendall Hinton get some love, though.
I already have him in here. $4,600.
You won't find a better steal than that.
So let's just say, for the sake of argument, we have no Melvin Gordon, no Jeudy, no Sutton, no Patrick. We already have no Hamler. Hamler's already on IR. This is Denver's offense. Locke,
Yeah,
Williams, Hinton, Fulgham. What do the Chargers have to do to stop that? Maybe have some snacks on the field. Maybe you could have, a couple of the linebackers just hanging out, having a couple sandwiches on the field. Maybe just sitting there. Oh, look, it's a ball. Catch. I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to enjoy my sandwich. Like,
it might be a
I'm not trying to disrespect Denver. I agree with that. I am really not trying to disrespect Denver at all. If this was at home, it would be a different game. They're at the Chargers.
Hey, well, you know what, though? There's not much difference of that being a home game and a road game because of the fans. It just has to do with the elevation. It's not like the Chargers exactly have a massive home field advantage.
Well, I think the altitude difference has a lot to do with it, too. But I mean, like, you're going to have wide receivers like Deontay Spencer. I mean, you're going to have probably Hinton, Fulgham, and probably Spencer. Probably going to have Darboh. Oh, no, never mind. Broncos cut them, so Darboh's not even on the roster.
I'll tell you what, though.
Seth Williams was promoted to the active roster.
I think Justin Herbert, you'd be hard-pressed, honestly, to find a bigger fan of Herbert than myself. I love the kid.
Herbert's amazing!
Game. But I don't think this is the week for him because they're going to have a pretty easy walk in the park this week with the Broncos. I agree with you, Austin Eckler could end up having a huge day. So, and especially for his price point, I just like other guys at that price range. We already talked about Allen and Brady, who I like. Kyler is another guy who I really like, exactly the same price. I would just much prefer Kyler to Herbert for the same price. So personally, I don't see a reason for Herbert to be in any lineups this week.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it's going to be tough getting him in there. I mean, I want to play him, but Denver's defense is still no pushover.
Yeah, and there's that as well. Denver's defense has been given a lot of quarterbacks trouble, and take what you will. Obviously, he's one of the best. But the last time he played the Broncos defense, they got him pretty good for 2 picks. So, it's within the realm of possibility that could happen again, and you have the big day.
Yeah, at 8,200, he might not pay off. Now, another quarterback we need to talk about here at the same price tag is going to be Kyler Murray, who's also 8,200 on the road at Dallas. Now you're saying, Adam,
Right.
On the road at Dallas, who cares? It's on the road at Dallas, people. It just doesn't matter. It's on the road at Dallas. Dallas's defense
Well,
is no
and you know what?
either.
Take what you will from this. Take what you will from this. But Kyler Murray loves playing at AT&T Stadium. He played there in the high school championship. He played there in college, in bowl games. He has never lost within their stadium, and he plays great football.
That's a fun stat.
I think there's something about just playing in front of a lot of his friends, playing at home. Not at home, but at his home. He grew up in Texas. I think even with the good Cowboys defense, I think Kyler Murray could have a huge, huge game against the Cowboys.
It will be interesting to see what Kyler does in this game for sure. Kyler will be in my player pool. I'm probably more inclined to go Kyler than Herbert for the upside.
Yep, completely agree.
Jalen Hurts, what else is there to say? He's at Washington. He's firmly in play. He's always a threat for touchdown rushing. Oddly enough, his stats this year have been ridiculous. So let's just take a look at his stats on the season. 2,930 passing yards. He's 22nd in league. Who cares?
Who cares?
16 passing touchdowns. He's got 740 rushing yards with 10 rushing touchdowns.
10 rushing touchdowns. That's the key right there. And you know what? I've got Hurts in my championship league, and I'm starting him this week.
Same. I'm starting him over Dak.
Yeah, and I think that's the right move. And what's funny is you don't always want to watch the games, right? But you look up at the end of the game and you're like, oh my god, he got 25 points. Great. And sometimes it's ugly, and he'll make you yell at the TV, right? Because he still doesn't make the best decisions. He's still prone to making really, really stupid mistakes. But when it comes down to it, he's just productive. He produces. His offense gains yards. He scores touchdowns.
We just saw this game too. They were at home versus Washington. He had 26 passing attempts for 20 completions, 296 passing yards, a passing touchdown, an interception, 8 rushing attempts for 2 rushing touchdowns, and 38 rushing yards.
Yep.
He had 2 fumbles, whatever. Again, this is Washington's defense,
that's a 3-turnover game. And what did he end up with? About 25 points?
28.64 points.
With 3 turnovers, right?
Those turnovers go away, he's over 30 FanDuel points.
It's unbelievable. And so he's not always going to be pretty to watch, Nope. But you look up at the end of the game and you're like, wow, thank you, Jalen Hurts. So I love Jalen Hurts. I'm a big fan of his, fantasy-wise and NFL-wise. I think if he cleans up his mistakes, he's got a lot of talent.
Yeah, this is true. And I mean, it's only his second year in the league. It's his first year really commanding an offense. He still doesn't have any decent wide receivers. Okay, excuse me. He's got Davon Smith, who's also a rookie.
Hey, Davon Smith is nasty, man.
But also, when you're throwing to no disrespect to these players, but Quez Watkins and Jalen Reagor. You hurt some other weapons, and he could have some fun with that offense. And for the love of bleeping goodness, for the freaking start Miles Sanders as a 3-down running back!
I know.
What are you doing, Philly?
He's been playing like it lately, but, now he's hurt, so it's kind of unfortunate. You know what, though? I think this will go down as one of the biggest draft misses of all time, was that the Eagles took Jalen Reagor 1 pick before Justin Jefferson to the Vikings.
Again, I was never thrilled with Reagor coming out of college, but I understand why people took him. Injuries plagued last year. Injuries have played a little bit of a part this year, but he's just
But
Some players also just don't play well at all.
Justin Jefferson going one pick later is going to haunt the Eagles for the rest of their lives.
I mean, Justin Jefferson's a stud. I love Justin Jefferson coming out of college.
I did too.
Could have been an argument.
He was my third rated receiver in that class.
I mean, you could have gone what? Lamb,
I
Judy.
had Lamb first. I had Lamb, Judy, and then I had Jefferson.
I mean,
those are my three.
Judy, Lamb, Jefferson. You can also argue too.
Yeah. Judy was that guy too. But I had CeeDee Lamb number 1, and then Judy and Jefferson was 3. So to see him fall that far, and yeah, man, poor Eagles fans. They deserve better than that.
All right, well, let's keep this rolling. We really haven't gone that far here.
Eagles fans are pretty nasty.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't gone that far here. I think Jalen Hurts is an awesome play this week. If I'm stacking Jalen Hurts and not playing him naked, so in case you're new to DFS, when you play a player and when you play a quarterback naked, it means you just play the quarterback. You do not stack him with any pass catchers or running backs. So I think you can play Jalen Hurts by himself. I think you can play Hurts plus Smith plus Goddard. If you want to take a chance on a Quez Watkins, that's who I'd play. I'm not going anywhere near Rager unless you're entering 100-plus lineups and you want to sprinkle in some Rager. It's still the Washington defense. I still don't care.
I agree with that.
Lamar Jackson most likely not going to play in this game due to the ankle injury. Tyler Huntley, 7,500 is too expensive. I'm sorry, too expensive for me.
Listen, I like Tyler Huntley a lot as a player. I think he's got a lot of talent as well, and I think he can run the offense very similarly to Lamar. But it's the Rams' defense, so keep that in mind. He's going to be
very respectable defense, even though they're on the road. Also, keep in mind Baltimore has no secondary right now. Matthew Stafford firmly in play this week. Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow
he's one of my
firmly
favorite values. I can't believe he's ranked as low as he is. He's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th most expensive quarterback. There's 8 quarterbacks more expensive than Matt Stafford, and that just does not make sense to me. With the Ravens having to start practice squad players at corner and safety,
Matthew Stafford may end up being my highest quarterback, not named Trey Lance this week.
Yeah. The Rams are gonna go absolutely nuts on the Ravens through the air.
100%. All right. Joe Burrow's in play. I have no interest in Taysom Hill. Agreed?
Yeah, I'm with that.
All right. Dak Prescott on downward. Who do you like?
Well, I like Dak for 74, first of all. I think that's worth noting. There's a group of guys that you can take for value, right? Like that whole group from Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, to Matt Stafford, to Dak Prescott, I think is kind of all in the same tier, I would say. Kyler's on the high end of that. But I think those are all in play. When you go down lower, one guy that I really like, and you're going to call me crazy, man. You're going to call me crazy. But one guy that I really like is Davis Mills. Davis Mills. And you know what? When I called him the other week, he did a pretty nice job, didn't he? He had a nice game when I called him last time.
I know you're big on Trey Lance. Squashing Davis
Trey Lance
like a bug.
I think is gonna have a nice game because of the floor of his rushing. But Davis Mills has been developing as a passer the last few weeks. He's really gotten a lot better. I think I've seen noticeable improvement from him. I think this game could be closer than people realize between the Niners and the Texans.
I'm happy for him. I'm glad he's getting better. Maybe Houston has somewhat of a quarterback, though I don't think Davis Mills is the answer. If I am looking at Trey Lance versus Davis Mills at the same freaking price, I'm taking Trey Lance 9 to 10 times out of 10. Trey Lance's rushing upside against the we can't guard the run Houston defense. There's no way. I mean, if you want to play Davis Mills on a 20 max like 5%, you want to play him over a 20 max like 5 to 15%, fine. I am going to have so much Trey Lance this week. Houston cannot stop the run. I don't care what they've recently done. They are bad. The Houston defense still overall is bad. I will take the 3rd overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft that has the highest rushing upside of any quarterback that came out of that class. Trey Lance is a freaking stud. Welcome to Trey Lance season. That is all.
It's a nice rant.
That's it for the podcast, everybody. No, I'm kidding. No, it's Trey Lance season. I mean, I understand your point on Davis Mills. I do. But they're the same price tag. I'm playing Trey Lance. I'm playing the guy with the higher rushing floor.
You know what? This is what's interesting to me. This is the way I see it. I see Davis Mills has a higher floor than Trey Lance because he's a better passer. I do. I believe that. Even with the rushing, Trey Lance struggles with passing the ball. He's still
that's evident apparently by the fact that he hasn't started this season.
Young and raw quarterback. Look at his passing stats. He's barely completing 50% of his passes.
He's barely played!
Well, that's fine. But I'm just saying, I think Trey Lance has a higher ceiling because of not only the rushing, but his talent. So if he is able to be successful through the air as well as on the ground, he could have a really big day. But in terms of the floor, I think Davis Mills has been more consistent throughout his starts. And I think he's a more developed passer. So I think Davis Mills could still end up having a bigger day. I'm not saying that he will necessarily. I'm just saying, for me, I wouldn't take either one. I think it's about 50-50. If I have a pool, I'm taking each half the time.
I think it's 85-15 Trey Lance.
Well, that's up a little bit from 90-10, so I must be convincing you. I must be talking.
I mean, I'll take the 15% hedge, but all right, other quarterbacks I like, Dak, Tannehill, and Wilson are all firmly in play. Tua Tagovailoa also very firmly in play against the Tennessee defense. I think Derek Carr is interesting this week. I think Mac Jones stacks are interesting this week. I'm probably not playing Heineke at home, with all due respect to him. There were just too many other quarterbacks I want to go to. I also don't see the upside with Taylor Heineke this week. I don't know if he's ever broken a slate. I just don't see the upside this week of a 500 less. For 500 less, I'll just go down to Trey Lance. Okay, maybe I'd still play Heineke over Mills. I was trying to make a case for Mills, but couldn't get there.
I like Heineke too. I like Heineke too, but Mills is the guy for sure between the two of them.
Yeah, I have no interest in any other quarterback this week. Do you?
No, I think we touched on all the names.
All right, let's get into the amazing running back tier this week.
All right, we're gonna have to move a little faster, I think.
Oh yeah, we're gonna move very much faster.
We're gonna try.
You're playing Jonathan Taylor this week.
Yep.
Do not sit there and try to fade him. Do not try making a case to fade him, folks. Please just play the best running back in the NFL that's not named Christian McCaffrey.
Here's the thing.
Jonathan Taylor.
Here's the thing. People always try and shy away from the top, or not always, but a lot of times people get scared by the price tag.
I don't care.
Right? But that's the thing. Is like, we in the podcast and other analysts as well, give all of our plays for value, right? Guys you can find for cheaper. The reason that you want to play guys that you think have value for cheaper price tags is so that you can go out and spend big money on big stars, right? So make room in your lineup in other places so that you can afford Jonathan Taylor, because he's just worth it. Bottom line, he's just worth the price.
Yeah, now look, we're not saying the Raiders or the Texans, we're not saying they're the Steelers, we're not saying they're the Chargers. They're still bad, but they've given up a lot of touchdowns. They've given up 1,416 yards to the running backs versus rushing yards versus opposing running backs, 14 rushing touchdowns. They've given up 90 receptions. Not like that's a really an interesting stat or anything, but still, because you can't really guard them out of the backfield too much. And they've given up 589 receiving yards. We know Taylor can catch the ball. They've given up the third most receiving touchdowns in the league. Taylor's a dual threat both ways. This is no real question.
Yeah.
We're just continuing to hammer the point home here, folks. Just play Jonathan Taylor. Just play Jonathan Taylor.
Gotta play him. Yep.
All right, moving on. The next tier that's not named Jonathan Taylor: Kamara versus Carolina, Eckler versus Denver, Mixon versus Kansas City. Elijah, we have no idea if you're starting Mitchell against Houston. If Mitchell starts, he's a freaking great play.
Yep.
Swift,
I
welcome
agree.
back at Seattle. Running back versus Seattle. Yo, Seattle fan, you guys still stink against the run?
You know what? The run defense has actually been better. The run defense has been better, but the problem is the problem for Seahawks fans is we cannot defend the running backs against the pass. Screen passes, the Hawks are awful at defending. Checkdowns, there's so much yards. So even though the Hawks have played well against the run, DeAndre Swift is a good pass catching back, so he could be really, really involved in the short game.
Oh, I was hoping you guys would be more terrible against the run. So yeah, Swift is definitely in play. Let's keep going down. We're not going to keep spending way too much time on this. We've already spent a really good deal of time here already. We want to keep this going. Zeke is interesting. I do not know if he's going to make my player pool. I really don't. Keep an eye out on Sunday before lock. We're going to know this information if Damian Harris is in or if he's out. Now, Noah, I got decisions to make.
Hit me.
I'm already and again, I apologize. Look, I am bringing this back to my championship roster here.
Championship week. Gotta talk about it. It's only right.
I have Jonathan Taylor and Austin Eckler. I traded for Jonathan Taylor, by the way, and I get Aaron Jones. So I've been rocking 3-stud running backs the entire season.
Absolutely.
Well, most of the season. Here's my problem with Jones this week. He's got the knee injury. I've already heard rumblings this week, or seen rumblings, that he may be limited because of the knee injury. Obviously, Green Bay is not stupid. They're going to start looking at Super Bowl aspirations here. And Jones is going to be a massive part of that plan. Do I start Aaron Jones versus Minnesota? Damian Harris versus Jacksonville? Which one am I playing? I have David Montgomery too, but again, once we get past Harris, I want to talk about the Giants and how they're not the biggest sieve to running backs as the stats may indicate. Because if you watch the gameplay, they're actually a lot better against the run than maybe the stats indicate. So,
yeah, my thoughts on that, I would say stick with Aaron Jones for a few reasons. Number one, yes, the Packers have Super Bowl aspirations, but if they win this week, they're going to pretty much lock up the number one seed, in which case they can prepare to have a bye week. There's still one more week of the season after this, so they would be more likely or more inclined to rest
sit
their
him next week. Not right.
Instead of this week. Also, stick with what got you here, right? You got to the finals. Don't change it now.
But Harris is versing Jacksonville.
I understand that, but stick to what got you there. You got 3 studs. You got to play your studs. You got to start your studs.
Harris is playing Jacksonville.
I understand that, but like, if you bench Aaron Jones and then he goes off on your bench, that would be a lot more frustrating, right? Because then you outsmarted yourself. You know what I mean?
Harris is still playing Jacksonville at home.
Hey man, it's your funeral. That's my 5 cents on the matter. But I understand the matchups, but you can't be a slave to the matchups either, right? Because for me, the ultimate determining factor is talent and opportunity, and I think Aaron Jones is in
we know Aaron Jones has no disrespect to Damian Harris, but Aaron Jones has way more talent than Damian Harris.
Yeah, no doubt, and he's also in a better position to succeed. I mean, I know the Patriots have been good on offense this year, clinical on offense, but
so again, this is where me being the Patriots fan comes in, right? We are going to take away, and again, Belichick likes. I'm not saying this as a knock to any rookie quarterback, but he embarrasses rookie quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
All due respect to Lawrence and to Wilson, Bill Belichick does not give two shits. Bill Belichick is going to take away your best weapon. And Jacksonville lost their best weapon last week. Unfortunately, James Robinson due to an Achilles injury.
Yeah.
So, if I'm Belichick, who am I worried about on this team? Exactly. Who am I worried about on the Jags? I am going to run it down their throats.
Oh no.
So anyway, yes, I'm still playing Aaron Jones, but like, just if I'm looking at the matchup,
I know it's tempting. And honestly, you might be fine either way. It might be one of those can't lose situations.
I'm also just for reference, I'm the defending champion in this league.
Well, even more important that you take the dub.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna start my 3-stud running backs. Again,
I think you have to.
If everyone listening to this goes back at the very beginning when I was talking NFL draft season-long strategies, I did a special season-long podcast where I discussed several different strategies, including part of my own strategy, how I was trying to target things. I talked about, at least if I can recall, I talked clearly about having to lock up your elite running backs. You want to rely on running backs. People are like, oh no, I want to draft the stud quarterback. I want to draft the stud wide receivers. The most consistent and highest relevant fantasy producing position on a week, 2-week basis are the running backs. There is a reason I traded for Jonathan Taylor when he was first starting to boom. I think I traded to him 1 or 2 weeks in. And people thought it was a great trade. It was unfair. I'm like, I traded Deontay Johnson for him. If you all listened a couple of weeks ago, you know how much Noah and I love this kid's talent. The person I traded Deontay to had a struggling wide receiver core and a very tough, struggling Justin Jefferson, who was doing nothing, and they needed to do something. They also had Najee and other studs.
As an owner of Justin Jefferson, I wouldn't say that he was struggling.
He was very inconsistent and was not helping your rosters out in the beginning of the season.
His first 2 games, he had 12 points, 18 points. And that was before he started scoring touchdowns. So it was a little bit of a slow start. I remember week 1, I was like, huh. But ultimately, you got to trust in the talent with that one.
Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, I would have given up I would have traded way more for him, but still, all Devontae did, and this is what people don't realize, because he's not a Devontae Adams, he's not a Stephon Diggs, he's not a Tyreek Hill. All Deontay did this year, by the way, folks, was put up double-digit fantasy points. No, we're not talking about this 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
The
one game he didn't, he put up 9.9.
All he did was put double-digit fantasy points in the season. For someone that needed the safety. Oh, by the way, that player that we made the trade for made the playoffs, and I thought he was actually going to win his matchup. It was just it was down to the wire, and he unfortunately was on the losing end of it. But very strong season from that player. Very strong season. My props go out to him. They're a first-time fantasy football player, and made some great moves, and they made the playoffs. And it was just a tough matchup they lost. Really, just craziness. But anyway, I digress. Let's get into the David Montgomery debate. As I said, we were going to go into this after Damian Harris.
Okay.
The Giants' defense is not bad versus the running back.
The Giants, I would go a step further. I would say the Giants' defense is not bad, period. Now, that doesn't mean that they're good necessarily.
No, hear what the stats say. They're the they've got the 5th most rushing yards versus opposing running backs. Look at the touchdowns on the screen. 10 rushing touchdowns. They've given up 2 receiving touchdowns this year. They are not a bad defense versus the run.
I would stay away from David Montgomery, personally. I think there's, especially for his price point, I mentioned this to you in the pre-show, but Sony Michel is $100 cheaper. and I think he's just got an absolutely amazing opportunity with Darrell Henderson out this week. And Cam Akers isn't quite ready yet, although I can't wait to see what he looks like on the field. This is going to be Sony Michel's backfield all to himself against a hurting Baltimore defense.
All right, so again, let's get into this. So I want to give a massive shout out to everyone in my main league. Everyone did an amazing job this year. And like I said, for the person that was a first-time fantasy football player to make the playoffs and the moves that they made was an incredible first season.
Oh, that's great.
So I'm very happy for that person. I can't wait to play with them again next season. They're only going to get better. But selfishly, I want to defend my title. David Montgomery is going to be in my player pool. Whether or not I get any exposure to him, I don't know. Now, here's my other worry with David Montgomery. He blows up for 3 to 4 touchdowns on the slate. Because Chicago is a mess right now. Nagy's on his way out. With all due respect to the Chicago fans out there. Nagy's on his way out. Montgomery's going to thrive next year. Fields is going to thrive next year. Mooney's going to thrive next year. Robinson's going to go to the Patriots. Prediction is going to go to the Patriots. Sorry, not confirmed. I may or may not have talked to his agent. I'm kidding. That roster is going to be in a really good long-term future rebuild shape. Montgomery, I can easily see signing an extension. I was wrong about him. Okay? I was wrong. When he came out of college, I did not think he was good. I was wrong.
I didn't like him either. That's so funny. Yep.
It's like you and I are friends or something, Noah. It's like you and I are like on the same wavelength with some of these players. So, all right. So now we get into the Sony Michel debate. Because I think you're on one side of this and I'm on the other. I do not like Sony Michel this week at all.
Why is that?
He's facing the Ravens' rush defense. The Rams are going to go nuts against their lack of a secondary. Michel has security and volume. I would play Harris. I would play Montgomery. I would play Ronald Jones all over Sony Michel this week. Better matchups, better positions than Sony Michel. And I'm a Sony Michel fan. I was pumped when the Patriots drafted him. Talk to us about your thoughts here on Sony Michel.
Yeah, man. I just think that the Rams are going to have a field day against this Ravens defense, definitely through the air as well, because they're playing all these practice squad guys. But that also means, especially with the Ravens having a backup quarterback, that they could get up in this game really early and have a lot of opportunities for Sony Michel, who is a talented player. And who's going to have the most opportunity this week because he has the backfield all to himself. So I just think the volume is there, and the talent is there for him to have a really nice game against the Ravens.
Yeah. I mean, again, talent wins out eventually, right? Like, we've seen what he can do. Versus Minnesota, again, there's a reason you're telling me to play Aaron Jones, right? 27 rushing attempts for 131 rushing yards. And a rushing touchdown with 4 targets for a reception for 4 yards.
You love to see that.
This is what he's been. Like, the volume is secure with him. But again, Arizona's a good rushing defense. You even said your Seahawks are a good rushing defense. You see the lack, the volume's there. He's not getting anything done. That's my concern with Sony Michel. 20 rushing attempts for 79 rushing yards, no touchdowns versus the Cardinals. 18 rushing attempts for 92 yards versus the Seahawks with 2 targets and 2 receptions for 23 receiving yards.
Yeah, I will say he's not always a huge receiving threat out of the backfield, so that could definitely limit some of his upside.
Which is weird because I feel like that was his thing in college.
That's a good point, actually. He definitely probably could be used a lot more in that role than he is. But I just still believe in the opportunity that he has.
That's fine. I think I'm just taking a stand, and I'm fading Sony Michel this week. I'm going to take that stand and fade him. That's a personal choice. I'm going to take a stand and fade him. I'd rather play Harris, Montgomery, and Ronald Jones. There's nothing to talk about Ronald Jones. He's 7,000. He's versing the Jets. You're playing Ronald Jones. You're playing lots of Ronald Jones. Right?
I agree. Yep.
All right, so again, I'm going to fade Sony Michel, but I'm taking a stand on this because I'm playing Montgomery over Michel, and it has nothing to do with season long. It has to do with matchup. Noah says play him. So you guys, based on the analysis we give, you guys make a chance. Other running backs, we are running really long on time here because you and I just keep chit-chatting and shooting the breeze. I've been off I was off last week. What are we doing else with running backs? Just let's go over running backs you like this week.
Yeah, I'll throw you a few names from
Please
the
tell
seven.
me Rashad Penny's the first one you're putting up there
That
at
exactly.
home versus Detroit.
Rashad Penny for 6,900 is exactly who I was going to say. He's had 130 rushing yards in 2 of the last 3 games. He's finally showing the reason that
4 years later.
He should never have been drafted that high in the first place. And it might be too little too late in terms of a contract, but he's running with purpose. He's running with power.
He is running for a contract.
He is. He's absolutely running for a contract. And but he looks great. He looks really, really good. And it's been one of the few exciting developments of this season as a Seahawks fan, because for this offense to work properly, you need we need a dominant running back, and we haven't had that all year because Chris Carson's been out for so long. But Rashad Penny has looked really, really, really nice the last few weeks, and I expect him to continue that against a porous Lions defense.
Yep. All right. Other running backs you like, let's run through them, and then we need to jump here into wide receiver.
Yeah, I would say Myles Gaskin at 59 is great value.
Nope. Myles Gaskin has been being faded out of this offense. Myles Gaskin over the last 2 weeks is being faded out of the offense. 10 attempts versus the Jets, 3 versus the Saints. He is slowly being faded out of the offense and has been since the Jets game on November 21st. 23 attempts, 16, 15, 10, and 3. They are favoring Phillip Lindsay. They are favoring Duke Johnson.
Actually, you might be right about that. I still like his ability to catch passes.
That's fine.
But Duke Johnson has shown to be pretty good at that too. I would say Michael Carter for 57 is another name that I like.
Michael Carter's 5,700. Okay.
And
any sexy Rexy this week?
Yeah, definitely. You could throw him in there. Sexy Rexy for what is he down 5,600? I mean, he just had himself a 100-yard rushing day. The 49ers have a decent rush defense, but he's kind of another one of those all-around backs. He could play 3 downs. He can catch passes. He can pass block.
Part of me was also baiting you into that, Noah. I have no interest in Rex Burkhead this week.
Oh, I do like him. I'm glad you mentioned him.
All right, who else do you like? And I'm going to give my thoughts.
Those are my guys.
All right, I'm going to go over my guys. I agree with you on Rashad Penny. 100% agree on Rashad Penny. Jeff Wilson Jr. here. If Mitchell is out, if Elijah Mitchell is out, Jeff Wilson is a phenomenal play. If Mitchell's out only. If Mitchell's in, you're not playing Jeff Wilson. With Gibson being out and put on IR, you are going to be looking at... Who does Washington even have in the backfield? It's Jarrett Patterson.
Patterson, yeah.
Gibson's out. McKissick's out. Sanders is out. Howard is questionable. The running backs in this game are going to be Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell, and Jarrett Patterson. And maybe even Wendell Smallwood. Oh, boy.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Jonathan Williams. Yeah, we're staying away from that situation here, ladies and gentlemen. Other guys I really like this week. Darrell Williams at Cincinnati. Javonte Williams at the Chargers. Sorry, Melvin Gordon. Get to a different team. Let's play you again next year.
Retire yet, please? Jeez.
I don't want him to retire yet. I want to see him in the Hall of Fame. As I think Gordon has a long shot case to make the Hall of Fame. I mean, he's not Hall of Fame running back yet, but Javonte has that. I just think Javonte. If I'm playing both at 6,100, I'm taking them with the higher upside, and that's Javonte Williams to get more explosivity.
No doubt. No doubt.
Devin Singletary, 6,000. Ramondre Stevenson. If, again, massive if, Damian Harris is out. Keyshawn Vaughn at the Jets, I think, is a large field GPP only type of play. And I wouldn't even go crazy with Keyshawn Vaughn. He had the big run last week, but that's it. I don't really see anyone else here low. I mean, you could take a chance on a Phillip Lindsay at $5,200. I do not typically play running backs against the Titans. They have a really good rushing defense. You could take chances on Nyheim Hines. There might be more dump-offs this week to Hines. If in your non-Jonathan Taylor lineups from Wentz, who's coming back from COVID, and is expected to play. So, we don't know what symptoms, if he had, I assume he was symptomatic, so we just don't know. So, I would take a chance on Nyheim Hines, but I would make a rule, one of Taylor or Hines. I would not have them both in the same lineup. That's it for me here. I really don't want to go down any lower than this. Anything else here, Mr. Noah, that you want to talk about from the running backs?
No, I think we're ready to move on to receivers.
Yes, and again, ladies and gentlemen, before we move on here to the wide receiver position, again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notifications bell down below. That way there, every single one of you all know every time we go live here or drop a podcast here at Main Event DFS. Drop a comment down below and chat with us here in chat. Tell us some plays you like. If you have questions, this is an open live stream. We're here to answer any and all of your questions. So leave us a comment down below as well. Tell us the plays you like or plays you don't like and stuff like that, what you want to see on the podcast. Are you happy it's FanDuel? I know a lot of people love FanDuel as opposed to DraftKings, and that's fine. We're going to give FanDuel some love here towards the end of the season. All right, Noah, here we go. The wide receivers here, my friend. Wide receivers, we start off with the one, the only, the wide receiver MVP of fantasy football this season. And we should be the third MVP candidate behind Rodgers 1, Jonathan Taylor 2. It's Cooper Kupp third in the MVP voting. Cooper Kupp is $10,200, and we're playing lots of Cooper Kupp this week.
Yep, it's the same exact thing that we said about Jonathan Taylor. We give you all these value plays for a reason, so that you can go spend your money on the guys who you know are going to produce. And Cooper Kupp may have the biggest week of his season, which is kind of ridiculous to say because he's had such a ridiculous season, but he's playing against the Ravens practice squad corners. So, he's going to have everything he could ever possibly want on the field. I could see 10 catches, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. You know what I mean? It's just nothing is out of the realm of possibility because the Ravens are just hurting so much.
Yep. It's all sorts crazy.
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel, 9,000. Firmly in play.
Absolutely.
Definitely in my play pool. Antonio Brown, 8,500. If he plays, which we're going to know before lock, he's absolutely in my play pool. Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown. You will want to mix and match all of these high-end wide receivers this week because they are all in phenomenal matchups.
Completely agree. I'll just give you of that group down to A.J. Brown, 7,500. The one who stands out to me the most in terms of value, I think, is A.J. Brown. Just based on what he was able to do in his return last week and then having another 10 days to even get healthier. He was hungry when he came back. He missed football. He came out and dominated. And I could see him doing the exact same thing again this week. And I just like him for the value at 7,500 because I think he's capable of having, as he showed last week, as good of a day as anybody in that top group.
Yep. So, A.J. Brown's a great play. Might give probably Xavier Howard shadow, but A.J. Brown's an absolute beast. We will see what they can do.
I don't even care. I just think he's going to win.
Yep, we'll see what they can do this week. CeeDee Lamb. Again, Season-long bias. I need Lamb to do something. This is the problem, though. People think it was CeeDee Lamb's breakout year. In some ways, it kind of sort of is. I mean, currently on the year, he's sitting at he's just over 1,000 receiving yards now, 1,006. He's got 6 receiving touchdowns, 74 receptions on 114 targets. Like, he's done nothing of note over the last several weeks. He flopped against Kansas City, was okay against New Orleans, meh against Washington, flopped against the Giants with 8 FanDuel points, and against Washington was 8.4. Do we see him this week against Arizona actually come back here? Because this is a play we're going to make a decision on our player pools.
Well, keep in mind with CeeDee, last week he had like 4 catches for 60 yards, 4 catches for 70 yards, something like that.
That was 5 targets, 4 receptions, 66 yards. It was also a massive Zeke and Cooper game. Cooper showed the beneficiaries.
He also only played one half of football, basically, right? Because they were up so big at halftime that they didn't even bother playing most of their starters in the second half.
That's fair.
So that was sort of a fluke. I mean, it's frustrating, right? And it goes to the pattern that he hasn't had a big week in several weeks now. But that is a little bit fluky just because the Cowboys were ahead by so much. So I would still start him with confidence this week.
Yeah. I mean, he's just in a weird price point. Like, you have Keenan Allen versus Denver. I'm probably not playing Allen. CeeDee Lamb, I'll probably leave in my play pool. I don't know if I'll get any. Like, Tyler Lockett at home, and possibly Russell Wilson's last game, 7,100, I think. I want to play Lockett, but I think it's $1,000 too expensive. I'd rather play Metcalf at 66.
I completely agree. Metcalf at 66 is an absolute steal.
Just because I'm a GPP player, and I'm a GPP player, and I want the upside. I want the upside of...
Yeah, I agree.
I want the upside of CeeDee Lamb. I'm sorry, of CeeDee Lamb. DK Metcalf.
Me, man, I know the struggle with DK, okay? I know how frustrating it's been. I felt how frustrating it's been as a Hawks fan for the second half of the season. It is just ridiculous that they can't get him more involved. But... oh my God! If there's ever been a week to get DK going, it's this week against the freaking Lions. I mean, Jesus! And you gotta go with the talent, right? That's my ultimate deciding factor. So I just gotta believe in Russ to DK, finding a way to make it work against the Lions.
Yeah. Here are some other players we got to love to play this week. Jalen Waddle and T. Higgins.
Jalen Waddle! I was just going to say.
Waddle.
He is a reception king, man. He is an absolute...
the terrible Tennessee secondary.
I love that play. I can't believe he's not worth more.
Yep. What are we doing with T. Higgins this week?
I'm starting him. He's hot right now. I don't see a reason for him to... drop off. I know the Chiefs' defense is legit, but
you know, be a high-scoring game. I don't care.
Yeah, you know who else is legit? Joe Burrow is legit, man.
Yes,
that dude is Joe Burrow. He's legit. I love the man. I love him.
Oh my!
T. Higgins has turned into a monster, man. He's got some strong hands.
Frickin' about time. I've been waiting on him all season. Hunter Renfrow, firmly in play. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the price jump on him. 6,900 versus the Seahawks.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's what happens when you ball out.
That's what happens when you're that good.
Just showing him respect. You gotta like it.
Yep.
Well, or not like it if you're banking on that value. But
I think I'd rather play CeeDee over Cooper again this week.
I would too.
I have no interest in Mike Williams. We've already talked about you and I love DK Metcalf's upside this week. Metcalf's upside this week. Beckham is firmly in play. Cooks is in play. Pittman's in play.
I love Odell as well. Odell for 65 is another steal.
Yep. Christian Kirk is firmly in play this week. DJ Moore. No.
Agreed.
No.
Agreed.
We do not know if Marquise Brown is going to play. He's questionable with an illness. We'll know that before lock.
Honestly, I would stay away from him regardless. In the games without Lamar, he's been god awful.
He needs to get away from the Ravens. Oops, did I say that?
He
Devonta
needs
Smith.
back.
We talked about this earlier with the Jalen Hurts stacks. Devonta Smith or
Yes.
Hurts. I'm fine with Smith this week.
Yes.
I
Play
do not
Devonta
have
Smith.
I have no interest in Tyler Boyd this week at 6,200. He's too expensive. It's Kansas City. No interest in Tyler Boyd this week.
I agree. And his big game last week came entirely on one reception. It was one reception for like 60 yards, and then he had two other catches for like 15 yards other than that. So it's great that he's involved in the offense, with a big play like that.
The other two have more upside. If you want to play Tyler Boyd, fine, and mix and match your Cincinnati wide receivers, fine. But just no thanks for me.
There are so many better plays than Tyler Boyd this
Agreed.
week. With value, I just don't see a reason.
Well, let's talk about a better one than Tyler Boyd this week. Darnell Mooney, 6,000.
Sure, great, love that. Absolutely agree.
Van Jefferson, 6,000. Brandon Ayuk, 59.
59 for Brandon Ayuk is absolutely ridiculous. Although I think that speaks to a little bit of Trey Lance's inability to throw the ball super effectively.
Well,
but
Brandon Ayuk, for whatever reason, been in the freaking doghouse this year.
Yeah, well, he's played better lately. But the other thing the 49ers are really good at, though, is manufacturing touches for their playmakers. They get the ball into their playmakers' hands near the line of scrimmage. They do that really well with screens, quick passes, jet sweeps, all that kind of different stuff. So I do think Brandon Ayuk could end up still having a good game.
Yep. All right, here we go. Jacoby, Michael Gallup. They're okay plays. Jacoby's questionable with a thigh injury. Again, check inactives. Check the inactives report at 11:30 Eastern, an hour and a half before lock. Marvin Jones Jr. probably the one that Belichick takes away, him or Chenault. I just don't care. I'm not playing anyone on Jacksonville. Robbie Anderson, if you want a massive,
you really got to worry about Marvin Jones Jr., man. Oh my God, Bill Belichick might not be even able to sleep tonight, worried about Marvin Jones Jr.
Oh boy,
that's scary.
Oh boy. All right, Robbie Anderson, $5,700. No, you could take a large field GPPs only. Byron Pringle, I love this price tag for him. 5,600, been firmly involved in the offense. He's become the number 2 wide receiver on the team. He's firmly in play here, Mr. Byron Pringle. Cole Beasley, AJ Green, and Julio Jones is once again on IR. Oh no, is he on the COVID IR? Oh, it's health protocols. He's out.
Wow.
He wasn't activated. I thought it was his hamstring injury.
Well, I don't know that he would have played regardless because of that hamstring. It's been bothering him all season.
Yeah. He needs some new hamstrings. I've heard the fantasy
footballers
joke about it.
He needs hamstring replacements.
It's just crazy. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Fame wide receiver. He's already got his Hall of Fame degree.
He's got his ticket. He's good to go. It just sucks though because he's been hampered by injuries his entire career.
Yeah, more recently in his career. Kendrick Bourne is someone I really like for $500 this week.
Can I throw you a couple names that I like down at the bottom here?
Oh, we're working our way down. Yeah, interested in Mecole Hardman or Allen? I can't know if I'm actually recommending Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson is in play for $500, but Mecole Hardman $5,400. Again, you got to mix and match these receivers, folks.
Here, I'm going to give you two names.
Who do you got? Tell me it's Gabe Davis.
You know what? I wasn't thinking Gabe Davis, although I don't hate that either. He's been more involved in the Bills. Here are my names. Here are my two names. Tyler Johnson of the Bucks and Josh Palmer of the Chargers. And I'll tell you why.
You're fired.
I'll tell you why. Tyler Johnson is going to have a lot more opportunity in this offense because Godwin's obviously out. Mike Evans, I'm expecting not to play. I think if Antonio Brown plays, he's the number 2 receiver for the Bucs. And this is something. And listen, don't get your panties in a bunch here when I say this. But when Antonio Brown was out for a good portion of this year, I would watch a Bucs game and be like, is that Antonio Brown on the field? Wait, no, he's injured, right? Just because the way that Tyler Johnson moves around the field, I'm not saying that he is Antonio Brown. I'm not saying that he's nearly as good as Antonio Brown, but he moves very similarly to Antonio Brown. The way they look in uniform on the field, and I think that's just a really good thing for a young player. I think he is talented, so I could see him getting some opportunity. And then Josh Palmer has been more consistent lately, with coinciding with the inconsistency of Mike Williams. He has been more involved in the offense. He caught a touchdown last week, and I love him. I love him in Dynasty, especially because I think he's going to become the number 2 receiver next year. But I'm just riding the hot hand a little bit this week, and I think he could continue with another good game.
Couple of opposite points. Tyler Johnson I'm fine with this week. Here's something interesting about Tyler Johnson. He doesn't have double-digit FanDuel fantasy points in any game this season.
I think this could be the first game that he changes that, to be honest.
It could be fair. The thing with Josh Palmer, he typically plays in the slot, if I'm not mistaken. He's typically a slot player. So I would rather play Guyton as the down-the-field stretcher. But I understand what you're saying. When Mike Williams has been out, Josh Palmer's been in play, Guyton's been in play. But you now have Keenan Allen. You have Mike Williams on the field, but Jared Cook is ruled out of this game. Put on the COVID-19 IR list. Pardon my language, but fuck this virus. And again, pardon my language, fuck this pandemic. Now, with that being said, I think you could see Palmer involved in double slot looks. So you could have Keenan Allen doing his usual slot wide receiver stuff. But you could have Palmer maybe taking some of the intermediate Jared Cook routes. Because there's no Darnold Parham. It's just really Steven Anderson.
Yeah,
whoever
I agree
else
with
they have
that.
a tight end.
And also, I think, Josh Palmer is a bigger wide receiver. He's 6'2", 200 pounds, 215 maybe. So he does play in the slot, but he's also capable of lining up outside, but he does go over the middle a lot. And he's really reliable on the short passing patterns. So I could see him getting some volume.
Yep. I think those plays are interesting. Guyton, $5,300. I'll take chances on him. Gabe Davis, $5,300. Love Gabe Davis this week. We need to see if Emmanuel Sanders, who's questionable with a knee injury, is ruled out this week. Westbrook Akine, I think, was placed on. Oh, he was activated from the reserve COVID list, so he's going to play. So it's probably going to be Brown and Westbrook Akine for the Titans. I think Westbrook Akine is an interesting large field GPP play. Anyone else down here I want to play? Juwan Jennings, not really. You could take chances on him if you want. We don't know who Trey Lance is going to target. I can see a lot of this game being Trey Lance plus whatever the starting running back is, plus Debo doing crazy end-arounds, rushing packages, and just destroying the Texans that way, and not pushing Trey Lance too much in the receiving game. So I can really see that happening. That's it for me and wide receivers. Anything else for you?
No, I think we hit on all of them.
Yeah, I have no interest in like a Dynamic Brown or any of these other guys. All right, here we go. I'm going to finish this up here, folks, with the tight end position. Then we'll go to defenses and our core value, GPP, and favorite stack segments. Tight ends, dude, super quick. Who do you like?
For tight ends, I think my favorite play value-wise is Dalton Schultz at 5,900.
Okay.
He's been super involved in the offense the last few weeks. They love getting him on these little play-action boots right on the line of scrimmage and give him like 10 or 15 yak, right? They love doing that on the goal line. He's been involved in the red zone offense. So I think he could be a huge play and a huge part of the offense for the Cowboys this week.
Yep.
I also like Dallas Goddard at the same price, $100 cheaper. As Jalen Hurts has started to develop a little bit more as a passer, Goddard has become more involved in the offense. Goddard is one of his favorite targets. So I think he could be a play as well. That's for value. If you're going to pay up a tight end, Mark Andrews has been amazing the last 3 weeks. I know personally because he is responsible for ending one of my leagues or one of my seasons.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mark Andrews.
I'm playing against him and Gronk this week.
Yep. Good luck. Oh, good luck. But even with Tyler Huntley, he's Tyler Huntley's favorite target by far. So, and then obviously Kelsey is a stud, Kill's a stud. So if you want to pay up for tight end, you can certainly do that. But if you're looking for value, Schultz and Goddard are my guys.
I don't really like Andrews this week. And it's not because I'm playing against him, it's because of matchup. I just don't want to play I just don't want to play him against the Rams, but he's going to get volume. Kelsey's my favorite tight end on the slate versus Cincinnati on the road. Cincinnati, no thank you. According to the opponent rank, they're the worst in the league. We can double check that here. Not saying they're wrong. Bengals have given up the third most receiving yards versus opposing running backs this season and 7 receiving touchdowns. So Kelsey's a great play. Kittle's great. Gronk is a great play. Waller was going to be an awesome play this week, but unfortunately was put on the COVID IR reserve list.
It sucks when great players don't play. It just hurts. And Darren Waller's been out for a long time, and then he's healthy.
So we're going to go down to Mr. Foster Moreau. We're going to go down to the Colts are terrible versus the tight end. They're giving up the most receiving yards versus opposing tight ends. And you're splitting hairs here. Colts are giving up 1,004. Chargers are giving up 1,001. Bengals are giving up 997. The Lions are giving up 979. Ravens 963. The Eagles 955 and the Jets 944. The Raiders 910. Football team 907. You're splitting hairs here, especially at the top. But the Chargers are giving up the most touchdowns. Colts have given up 8 touchdowns. So I think Foster Moreau is a great value play this week against Indy. I love the Schultz play. I love the Goddard play. I like Goddard more than Schultz. I like Gesicki this week. I like Dawson Knox. Uzoma is fine. Again, you got to mix and match your stacks. Ricky Seals-Jones is fine. Again, Eagles giving up. It looks like here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, the 6 most receiving yards here and 12 receiving touchdowns, which is in fact tied for most touchdowns given up to the opposing tight ends here in the league, tied with the Chargers. So we are going to go firmly here with the Uzoma play. Ricky Seals-Jones. I think Kmet's been getting really involved. He's a fine play. Not one of my favorites. Brevin Jordan's been more involved, but I don't want to play him this week. So that's it for me on tight ends. Anyone else you want to talk about here?
No, I think we hit them all.
Outstanding. And Steven Anderson, 4,400 if you really want to go down that route with the Chargers. So.
Yeah, 44.
Defenses this week.
Yeah. For the value.
There's no surprise this week that the highest priced defense at 5,000 are the New England Patriots at home versus the Jaguars. Chalk.
Easy.
Not like there isn't value to get to them.
Yep.
Bucks.
I mean, I could see a defensive touchdown from them. I could see a defensive touchdown from the Bucks versus the Jets. They're playing rookie quarterbacks, turnover-prone offenses. So,
yes, sir. So, all right, here we go. So
both of those two right there are huge plays for me.
Yep, Patriots and Bucks, both plays for us. The Bears defense at home versus Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm.
Yep, that's a good one too. I would say I would take the
Niners
defense against the Falcons is decent. The Niners defense against the Texans is decent. Honestly, though, I've said this before, I would rather pay up for defenses than find value because it's one of the more volatile positions, right? It's not very consistent. Like
correct.
So I would feel confident staying up near the top of the list.
That's fine. So, I mean, all these top-end defenses, I mean, the Saints are not my favorite, but they're fine. I'd probably take the Patriots, Bucks, Bears, Niners, Bills all over the Saints, so the Saints are coming 6th there. I think the Seahawks are a great defense. I think Eagles are very interesting on the road. I'm not playing the Cowboys at home versus Arizona unless you want to get really, really contrarian.
Yeah, I agree. I would avoid the Cowboys.
No on the
Even though I
Cowboy.
do like the
Yep.
defense and they've been playing great. I just don't like betting against Kyler.
Yep. No on the Giants.
I don't like betting against great quarterbacks, to be honest. That's what it comes down to. I don't like betting against great quarterbacks.
Yep. No on the Giants. No. Chiefs are okay if you want to play them. Rams defense firmly in play at Baltimore. Titans defense at home versus Miami is fine. They're in play. Chargers at home are definitely in play because you're playing against Drew Lock and what could be no decent wide receivers. No disrespect to any wide receiver there. So Chargers defense in play. Colts defense is okay. Cardinals on the road. Been a great defense this year. Not really on the road. I want to play at Dallas. And what has the highest over-under on the entire slate. Football team at home, no. Broncos, no. Dolphins are interesting, but no. And the lowest I would really go here, honestly, if anyone else, I would even play the Raiders at Indy. With Wentz coming off the COVID IR, with Wentz coming off the COVID IR list, so not even really going on, recovering from COVID. We don't know if he's had any fatigue symptoms. We don't know if they're going to be fully gone in terms of the fatigue and everything else. So Raiders are the cheapest defense that I would go. But again,
to be honest, I am not even going to get that far down. I'm not touching it personally.
It's a week to pay up at defense for safety, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree with that.
All right, well, we've kept these folks here long enough. We're an hour and 20 minutes here. Noah, let's get into our core, value, GPP, and favorite stack segment. Core, who you got?
All right, core value. Quarterbacks, I'm going Matt Stafford for 76.
Core and then value. Two separate categories, my friend.
Yep, sorry, yes. Core value, I'm going to go Matt Stafford, 76. I'm going Jonathan Taylor. I'm going Rashad Penny. I'm going Cooper Kupp. I'm going Jalen Waddle.
Well, let's not give all the core plays out here. Give us your 2 to 3 favorite.
All right. My favorites, I would go Waddle and Stafford.
Excellent. For me, it's Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp. I'm getting the 2 highest priced players on this slate.
The chalk.
I'm going with the chalk. All right, value plays.
All right, value plays. For me, I really like Odell at 65. I like DK at 66. I mentioned him just a second ago. Rashad Penny at 69 is a great price. He's going to get the entire workload.
Seahawks fan.
Hawks. And then Dalton Schultz at 59.
He missed that play, ladies and gentlemen. I called him a Seahawks fan. He just completely glanced over that.
Of course I'm a Hawks fan, but that doesn't mean that Rashad Penny's not been good.
Oh, no. Rashad Penny's been great. Value play for me. Again, value and GPP play is Trey Lance. Value on running backs, we've talked about a lot of them. Darrell Williams at 62. Devin Singletary at 6,000. Ramondre at 57. Keyshawn Vaughn at 56. That's probably as low as I'm going there. Value at wide receiver. You have the likes of Brandon Ayuk here at 59. You've got Robbie Anderson at 57. You have Byron Pringle at 56. Bourne at 55. Gabe Davis 53. McCollum 54. And we've already talked about it, but Foster Moreau is my value tight end this week at $5,200.
Oh, one other quarterback for core play.
Yes, sir.
Core plays. Josh Allen. He's the highest quarterback, but he's chalk. He's so good. He's so good. He's so good. I love Josh Allen. Love me some Josh Allen.
Excellent. GPP plays. Give us 4. 3 to 4.
I'm going to go... Let's see. I'm going to go with Dak Prescott against the Cardinals. I think could have a nice day. I think A.J. Brown is another guy that I really like. And then, there's great value at the receivers. So I'm going to go with Waddle and Metcalf.
All right. Who was the first again? I apologize.
Dak Prescott is another quarterback that I like.
All right. So Dak, Waddle, Metcalf, and who is your other?
Who did I just say?
Dak, Waddle, Prescott.
And
Dak, Waddle, and Metcalf.
Yes. And and Sony Michel as well.
Excellent.
I know we disagree on that, but
That's
the
fine.
one.
GPP for me. I'm gonna put Tannehill in there. I think that game is way too low. I also like Kyler and Jalen Hurts. Wide receiver, running back David Montgomery. Wide receiver Cooper Kupp, don't get crazy. Deebo Samuel. All the top end wide receivers are great GPP plays. Mix and match them.
Yep, absolutely.
Tight end, I'm just focusing around Travis Kelce if I can get him. Gronk if I can get him. Schultz, Goddard first. I think Hunter Henry's also a really good tight end play this week, along with Zach Ertz. But again, my bias on Zach Ertz because I'm starting him in my season-long league. But Zach Ertz has been much more involved in this offense, especially since Hopkins has gone down to injury. So yeah, that's it in terms of those plays. I think Kyle Pitts and Dawson Knox are interesting as well.
Sure. Yep.
But I'd play Dawson Knox over Kyle Pitts for sure. That's going to do it here, ladies and gentlemen. Anything else you want to talk about here, Noah, before we head out of here?
You want to do a quick stack real fast?
Oh, yeah, we got to do our favorite stack, don't we? Favorite stack, who you got?
I'm hammering the Rams this week. So any combination, or if you want to get really rich, you could go 3 or 4 of them. Stafford, Michelle, Kupp, and Beckham. Mix and match however you like. They're all going to have huge days, I think.
Excellent.
One other one, just one more to throw at you. You're going to call me a homer. I already know it.
We got a bonus stack coming, folks.
Bonus stack. Here it is. It's the Hawks. I feel real good about a Russ and Rashad Penny, or Russ, Rashad Penny, and DK.
Yep.
I think
that sounds about right. For me, it's going to be Burrow, Chase, Higgins.
That could be nasty.
Not a core stack, but definitely a stack I want to play. I also think Allen plus Diggs plus Gabe Davis is a really interesting stack. And obviously you can go a number of different ways. There are many different stacks. You can go Mahomes, Hill, Pringle, Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey, Mahomes, Pringle, Kelsey. You can go many different ways. Anything else to talk about here on this site before we get out of here, Noah?
No, I think we just about covered it all. I hope.
Excellent. We're almost here at an hour and a half. Thank you all for tuning in here to this NFL DFS 2021 Week 17 preview slate. This is the live stream here / podcast here at Main Event DFS. I'm tired. It's late. Let's head out of here, Noah. Good luck on this slate, ladies and gentlemen. You can follow Noah on Twitter at nrifkin22. You can follow me on Twitter at AdamWX21. You can follow Main Event DFS at Main Event DFS on Twitter, MANE Event DFS. Good luck on this slate, peoples. Latest peoples.
All right, see ya.